The Golden State Warriors have serious problems. As you all know, the Warriors have not gotten off to the greatest start, where they are currently 5-8 and are currently ranked 13th in the Western Conference. They recently lost to Sacramento Kings, which was very surprising, and there are a lot of problems that the Golden State Warriors must fix. So in today's video, we're going to be going through 5 major problems that the Golden State Warriors must fix in order for them to be back to winning ways and win another NBA championship. So make sure you like this video, and if you want more Golden State Warriors content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. But let's get first into the first big problem, and the first big problem is the Golden State Warriors are not scoring at a high level. Now, as you all know, the Golden State Warriors are known for scoring due to the fact that they have 2 of the greatest shooters alive in Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. However, when we compare last season to actually this season, the Golden State Warriors are not performing just as well, especially in the scoring category. Now, Steph Curry is averaging more at 32 points per game, where last season he was only averaging 25. However, when it comes to the rest of the supporting cast for the Golden State Warriors, they are not nearly averaging the same that they were last season. Klay Thompson last season was actually averaging 20 points per game. This season, only 14 points. Jordan Poole this season is averaging 15 points, and last season he was averaging 19. Andrew Wiggins was actually averaging 17 points last season, and this season he's actually averaging 18. So he has improved by 1, but when it comes to the other major scorers in the roster, they are not averaging nearly as much. Jordan Poole recently just signed a big extension, same with Andrew Wiggins, and Jordan Poole hasn't really been living up to that contract extension, as he's averaging less in all categories, not just in points, but in rebounds, assists, and all those others. Same with Klay Thompson, and the list even goes further when it comes to the other players such as Draymond, James Wiseman, Kevon Looney, who are all averaging 2 points less than they were than last season. So they clearly are having a bit of a scoring drought. Steph Curry is kind of the only person that is keeping them alive, but where I see the huge problem in this is actually in their field goal percentage. It's not like they're getting less 3-point or less 2-point attempts, because they are actually averaging roughly the same amount of 2-point and 3-point attempts last season, but when it comes to their field goal percentage, they have actually dropped drastically. Their effective field goal percentage actually has dropped from 55% last season to 49% this season, and they were ranked 2nd last season when it comes to the league ranking of effective field goal percentage, and now this season they are actually ranked 8th. Now, it may still be in the top 10, yes, that's for sure. However, when it comes to that little dip, that can definitely be the outcome of a majority of games, and that's basically what's happening with the Golden State Warriors. They're not losing by 10-20 points against these teams, especially last game where they versed Sacramento Kings, but they're literally only losing by 2 or 3 points, 1 or 2 couple of plays, and that can make a huge amount of difference. Now, I think they do need to get their scoring in check, maybe have Wiggins, Poole, and Klay Thompson more involved, but I do think in themselves they actually have to be able to shoot more efficiently on the 3-point line and also on the 2-point line. All their 3-point percentages besides Steph Curry has actually dropped from last season. The only 2 players that actually have improved in 3-point percentage is Andrew Wiggins and also Steph Curry. But when it comes to Klay, Jordan Poole, Draymond, even some of the bench players, they are actually all averaging less when it comes to their 3-point percentage, which I think needs to be fixed if they want to go back to their winning ways. The second serious problem the Golden State Warriors face is their poor rebounding ability. Now, this is surprising coming from a team that recently just won an NBA championship, but the Golden State Warriors rebounding has honestly dropped dramatically. Now, when it comes to their rebounding in general, the leading rebounder so far this season is actually Steph Curry. Now, I don't know about you, yes, that is great for his stats, and yes, I'll put Steph Curry in that MVP conversation, but when it comes to team basketball, that is actually really bad if your main scorer is also your main rebounder and is out rebounding players such as Kevon Looney, Draymond Green, and James Wiseman, who are 4 or 5 inches taller than him. So it definitely is something that needs to be fixed, and players such as Wiggins, Draymond Green, James Wiseman, Kevon Looney all need to step up to be able to rebound more. Now, to show you just how bad it's actually gotten for them when it comes to rebounding, this season they are actually averaging 40 rebounds per game, and their total rebound ranking as a league, so compared to the rest of the other NBA teams, they are actually ranked 24. Now, if we go to last season, they were actually ranked 7th with 48 rebounds per game. So guys, you see the major difference in their rebounding, and I think this honestly plays a huge part. I know rebounding is something that really isn't talked about a lot, but if you're not getting enough rebounds, you're not getting your possessions, and the other team may be putting up some second chance points. Now, if we even split it up to offensive and defensive rebounds last year, they were actually ranked 2nd. So they were ranked 2nd last season, where they were were averaging 35 defensive rebounds per game, and this season, guys, their league rank, they are ranked 22 with 30 defensive rebounds per game. So you can definitely see the huge difference in that. Offensive rebounds, they actually have, stayed the same around that 20 league rank mark, but defensive rebounds is definitely where they need to step it back up. Steve Kerr has actually said in recent interviews that their rebounding has been very poor as of lately, and they don't really know the reason why. Maybe Kevon Looney, Draymond Green are not getting into the right positions, or maybe the lineups that they are running aren't really the best when it comes to having enough big men or enough rebounding players in order for them to get the board. So maybe that's why we see Stephen Curry at the top of total rebounds, but I definitely think that needs to change, because Stephen Curry, although he can get rebounds, his main job is definitely be the point guard and to definitely be the scorer, and the rebounding should be left up to the big men of the team or even some of the small forwards such as Andrew Wiggins. So the third serious problem the Golden State Warriors face is the negatives that come with the absence of Gary Payton II, Otto Porter Jr., and Juan Toscano Anderson. As you all know, we lost those three big players last season due to the fact that they signed bigger contracts somewhere else. Now, I know a lot of you may have thought it was a bad move at the time, and I obviously did think that as well. However, a lot of people thought that with the replacements that they've made with JaMychal Green, Dante DiVincenzo, adding Kuminga and Moses Moody, giving them more game time, that we wouldn't really see a huge dip in play. However, it's starting to see that maybe those players were actually such a huge part, especially for that role player role, in order for them to actually win championships and win games. Maybe the rebounding would have been better, maybe their defense would have been better because Otto Porter and also JTA and Gary Payton II were all defensive minded players, and I think maybe we are starting to feel those negatives. I think they've done a fantastic job in trying to get replacements in JaMychal Green, DiVincenzo, Kuminga, and Moody, but maybe Moody and Kuminga need more time to adjust to the NBA. JaMychal Green and also DiVincenzo need more time to actually adjust to this whole roster, and also on top of that, they have had a little bit of injuries, with DiVincenzo being out for a hamstring injury and not being able to play a majority of the game so far. So maybe these things do need to change, or maybe it does take time in order for them to actually flourish, but I think with everything that is going on, I think the negatives that do come with having the absence of these players are definitely starting to show. There really isn't too much defensive power for that second unit, the rebounds are getting very poorly, and maybe the rotations don't really fit as well, such as maybe JaMychal playing with Steph or Jordan Poole playing with DiVincenzo. This is something that definitely have to work out in order for it to work, just like it did last season when they had JTA, Otto Porter Jr., and also Gary Payton II. It will take some time, but I think now definitely needs to be the time where they turn it around, because although they're only 13-14 games in, they definitely need to turn this around now if they want to go back to their winning ways and end up winning another NBA championship and making the playoffs. The fourth serious problem the Golden State Warriors face is maybe the NBA teams around them are just getting better. Now, the reason why this is such a big thing is because the Golden State Warriors definitely have a target on their back due to the fact that they did win the NBA championship last season. However, other teams are now coming into the league having this target against them, and they are looking to be better than them in all categories. If we look at 3-point percentages, they are actually averaging the same last season than they were this season at 36%. However, their league rank last season was actually 8th, and their league rank this season is 15th. So it does seem that maybe they stayed the exact same, but teams around them have gotten better, or in this case, 6 or 7 teams have gotten better than them. So that's basically what this all is. I think honestly, the teams around them definitely have tried to improve in all facets in order to catch up to the Golden State Warriors, but the Golden State Warriors stayed the same, and that is a huge problem that we see. If we even go further, when it comes to points, they are actually averaging the same points that they were last season. However, their offensive rating has actually dropped, and their league rank has dropped in offensive rating from actually 12th last season all the way to 18th. So this is a problem that I definitely see with a lot of teams coming off an NBA championship. They ease into next season, they think, it's going to be the same as last season, but all of these other teams, the teams that they knocked out in the playoffs, also during the regular season, all these teams are coming for them, and they want to be better than they were last season. So this is something that the Golden State Warriors need to wake up to, not just Steph, but also Wiggins, Poole, Klay, Draymond, that it's not going to be the same amount of effort or same amount of ease that it was last season. They need to go twice as hard if they want to see any improvement and to turn this season around. The fifth serious problem the Golden State Warriors face is their problem with defense. Now, the Golden State Warriors are not playing the same great defense that they were last season. Now, if we look at their defensive rating this season, their defensive defensive rating is 115 and their league rank is 27. So they are literally the third worst team when it comes to defense. Last season, guys, they were actually ranked first with 106 as their defensive rating. So we see a huge dramatic difference from coming from being the best defensive rated team to pretty much the third worst, and I definitely think that needs to change. Draymond Green even said in a recent interview their defense is the reason why they are losing games, and like the saying goes, defense wins games and defense wins championships. And I think that is very important. The Golden State Warriors must get this fixed in order for them to continue to their winning ways. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Peace.